You may be fast, but you lack the skill. Pay attention, cause I'm gonna show you our real champion races. Yeah, but only one of us will be going back the winner, and that's gonna be me.
Well, no more. Not from you or your cheer squad. You come at me on the track, you bring everything!
Hey gang! Well, what do you know? Another summer has come and gone and we've already approached September. Normally I'd be upset about it, but why should I be when CrossWorlds releases in a few weeks? Anyway, it's been a good few days since we've been able to play the final open network test, and after sinking countless hours into the game as much as possible, I think I've pretty much summed up my main thoughts on the game before release. And what better way to express my pros and cons for the game than with a video? And this is without a script, so you'll understand just how bad I sound without one. For how I'll give my thoughts, I'll start off with a pro, then a con, then a pro, then a con, and so on and so on. First compliment. The transition from TSR to CrossWorlds is unbelievable. Back in 2019, a good chunk of us were completely unamused with Team Sonic Racing. Literally the most lifeless kart racer. But now take a look at CrossWorlds. Visually, both games feel more or less the same, but I'm mostly going on about the gameplay and how the game just feels like a complete makeover from that game. Nothing about TSR really caught my eye all that much. A lot of the gimmicks just really fell flat. The way I'm picturing it is, like, you have Team Sonic Racing on your TV screen, and picture that as, like, you know, your screen being, like, completely dirty or dusty or whatever, and then you take a rag and you clean the whole thing, and then once you're done with that, you're greeted to CrossWorlds, and the game just feels like a complete change of pace. No pun intended.
Literally, no puns.
To put it simple, CrossWorlds seems like it's going to be well worth your time, way more than TSR was, which is good. Alright, now time for a complaint, and I'll fully admit that this is a complete nitpick, but I'm still gonna point it out anyway. I don't like how the side characters and, like, you know, the ones that are, you know, like, watching, or, like, you know, the ones that are, like, in the background when you're, like, choosing a character, or, like, you know, customizing your vehicle, I don't like how they're just really weird, bizarre forces avatars. On top of that, I'm not a fan of the whole chows and, you know, animals from, you know, South Island appearing in the crowd and not, you know, any actual specific characters. Of course, I know Mario Kart is no stranger to this, as well as, you know, the crowd for those games was also just a bunch of generic characters like toads or enemies and whatnot. Like, would it kill Sega or Sonic Team to at least put some humans in the spectating areas or something? I don't know, the way they handle humans in the Sonic universe is just really strange, because one second they're there, and the next they're gone, and don't exist at all. This doesn't completely bring the game down for me, but it just feels extremely lazy, and I kind of wish they put in a lot more effort with, you know, designing the NPCs. Next up, I think I speak for a large portion of the fandom when I say this, but sorry, my tongue had a seizure there. The Babylon Rogues returning in a game that's not the Olympics. Thank the Lord. It's extremely unfortunate how overlooked these characters are, which isn't completely out of the ordinary considering the devs have a thing for shoving off their characters to the side most of the time. It's just nice to see Sonic interacting with Jet once more. Speaking of Jet, time for another complaint that involves him. His voice. It sounds just as good as nails on a chalkboard and teeth biting on metal. But then again, when has it not? Because I often hear that Jet's voice is supposed to sound annoying, but I don't know, it's just really funny when people describe characters like that. Oh, they're supposed to sound annoying because they're supposed to tick off a character or tick off the person watching. And I gotta put a strong emphasis on what I'm about to say here. I am not hating on Michael Yurchak or Yurchunk at all. His Jet voice, though, is just not really something that I completely vibe with. Not trying to turn this into another Jason Griffith glazing factory, but his take on the character just really suits it a lot better. As mentioned, I'm sure it's just meant to signify his annoyance to Sonic or the other cast, but still, if it's meant to really be that annoying, then yep, they're certainly doing a good job of doing so. I feel his current voice would work a lot better as SpongeBob instead. Next, I gotta bring up the awesome track variety. Unfortunately, we were only allowed to play a few of them in the demo. Although I feel like I'm cheating by saying that, since 50% of the track selections are the worlds from Unleashed, and as you all know, I love that game to pieces. But even the tracks that aren't from Unleashed are enticing, like Chronos, Starlight Carnival, Dino Jungle, and even White Space. The soundtrack, though, it's kinda hit and miss. I know most people hate it, but I don't mind it too much, just as long as they don't stick with this formula for OST in the future. And when a game represents Unleashed, I know it's doing something right. And as fun as it was to play CrossWorlds, of course there have been a handful of players that ran into a glitch or two, which sorta has me realizing that we may never get another polished Sonic game again. To this day, the last polished 3D Sonic game was still Lost World, and the last polished game in general was Mania. Shadow Gens was so close. Really wish Sega would man up and give Sonic Team a better budget when making games now. Thankfully, I didn't run into any glitches, as the game itself is fun to play, and feels more chaotic than Mario Kart World to me. Don't know if that's good or bad, but hey. And here's a complaint that I know everybody will agree with me on. The DLC/bonus characters not being able to speak is incredibly lame. It's Nick All-Star Brawl all over again. What's the reasoning behind this? Well, Sega feels it'll take up too much time and money and will just end up having them delay the game. To that I say, they wanted to put these characters in the game, so why not go all out? And if they have to delay the game, then go for it. We don't care, we just want a good Sonic game. Then again, it is a racing game, so I doubt if it were to get delayed about a year from now, nobody would care. Still, the best way I can describe this is just completely lazy. At least we'll get to hear Miku's voice, but not SpongeBob, Patrick, or even Pac-Man? Or Werehog? Come on, man, I'll even take reused voice lines. And now onto the last pro and con. The rival interactions are peak. These are the kind of things required to bring life to a Sonic spin-off. Favorite one is hands down Sonic and Zaz. Here's why.
Sonic and Zaz have some history.
You learned to count to 100. Very impressive. Now, do you know which one's the brake and which one's the accelerator?
Yeah, you put that dolt in his place, Sonic! And since we're talking about this, I might as well take the opportunity to mention that after looking into Amy's characterization more in this game, I think I'm starting to fully understand why Amy fans are the way that they are these days. Sorry, I just had to clean my mouth after saying that. Ugh. I don't know, my transition from that was just really bizarre. Before I used to tolerate how she was nowadays, but now she can't even have a backbone. But what I find extremely hilarious is how I was finally able to comprehend how Amy fans feel about her without them wanting to kill me or something. Well, Amy fans, I hope you're happy with me now, but I still don't like any of you. But yeah, I have come to the realization that Amy can be nice and all, but during these kind of circumstances, it wouldn't hurt for her to be a little bit more fierce for the competition. I guess we'll just have to see how she acts in the next mainline game, whenever that comes. Well, those are all my thoughts on CrossWorlds before release. Overall, as expected, the game is definitely looking quite solid. So I guess we don't have to worry about it being another team racing situation. False alarm on that one. So yeah, I'll definitely pick up the game once it launches. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and be sure to let me know what you think about CrossWorlds in the comments below. By the way, if there's ever an instance where I fall short with uploads, just know that I'm still on the hunt for a job, among other stupid adult shit, and I just need as much breaks as necessary. But who cares about any of that? As always, more videos are on the way per usual, and I'm already in the process of scripting and working on a few as we speak. Thank you guys for watching, comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a nice day.
Please give us back the riders' outfits as alternate costumes, please. I need them.